The 1985 Elric Sailors on the Seas of Fate is a 7-issue graphic adaptation published by First Comics, featuring work from Roy Thomas, Michael Gilbert, and George Freeman. It's based on the Michael Moorcock's novel The Sailors on the Seas of Fate. First Comics acquired the rights after Pacific Comics lost them, part of a broader shift that contributed to Pacific's eventual shutdown, though not the sole reason. Though this is the reason why the 1983 comic adaptations are published under Pacific, and the majority of the others from the 80s are published by First Comics. Despite changing publishers, the series managed to keep Roy Thomas and a lot of the same creative team. Now, this adaptation breaks the story into 3 parts, much like the novel. The first has Elric battling Agak and Gagak. These are entities from different dimensions that threaten reality itself. And this segment also includes crossover characters from the Moorcock multiverse, such as Coram and Hawkmoon. The second story follows Elric rescuing a woman from a mad king, and this story also takes place on another realm of existence. And in the final act, Elric searches for a lost city that may hold the secret origins of his people. While the cover art is a bit plain, this is kind of deceptive, as the interior artwork is surprisingly psychedelic and vibrant. It's more colorful than you would expect for Elric. The surreal art style fits the theme of fighting interdimensional beings quite well. The bright, vibrant colors are a little odd for Elric stories, which typically lean darker and more tragic, but they do work well for some of the stories. Overall, I would say it's just an interesting choice. Elric is definitely more of a grim-dark fantasy series, and this comic adaptation felt more like a Acid and Beatles inspired take rather than a grimdark take. P. Craig Russell wasn't directly involved in this adaptation, but you can see his influence. The psychedelic visuals are reminiscent of his work on The Dreaming City, so stylistically it aligns with previous Elric comics, which is nice. It's not as jarring as you would think. When a different artist comes and takes over a series, you might think that the art completely changes, but Elric himself has a pretty similar design to previous comics. This version, I will say, did feel like a step up from the 1983 Elric of Manibene comic series in almost every way. George Freeman's style really shines here, and the overall presentation feels more polished and professional. There's a lot of personality in both the artwork and the coloring. The art does occasionally feel a bit rough around the edges, like it could have used one final touch-up before printing, but that just might be the result of stylistic differences between artists, and there's probably some printing limitations to blame for that as well. With all my praise of this version, I think a large part of me really liking it is less artist related and more production related. The quality control and overall comic book production done by First Comics was way better than Pacific Comics. The color in particular looked way brighter and popped more. The 7-part comic series was collected into a few different editions. There's a 1987 edition available in both softcover and hardcover, and then there's a newer 2015 hardcover reprinting. And as mentioned before, I think the comic cover art with the plain gray border is overall kind of underwhelming and boring. So unless you're collecting for the feel of the paper or some other more niche reason, I think the 2015 hardcover edition is the way to go. Out of all of the Roy Thomas comic adaptations, I think this version is the most balanced in regards to both the art and story. Sometimes you get a version where the art's really good and the story lacks, or vice versa, the story is really good and the art lacks. I think this version just had a great story and great artwork. That's personally why it's my favorite and why I highly recommend it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.